dreams come true. And I wonder if you know what it means, what it means.
Is there anything specific that you're thinking about? Programs on the ground right now seems to be the case. The key action phrase now is shovel ready that you're doing in the community now.
I think there's a serious issue with the lack of respect of womanhood. And something that we're working on now is getting together a Real Men Don't Rape campaign, where we're going to be once again doing similar T-shirts and things of that nature, but we'll be donating some of those funds to women's shelters and things of that nature. It's really unfortunate what's going on with our young women, with the STD rates and things of that nature. And I think, and instead of just sitting from the sidelines and saying, "Wow, that's really sad," we have to get involved. And how we get involved is by doing what we say we're going to do in our mission. We're not the group to come to necessarily if we're dealing with, a respective womanhood rape issue. We're not that group, but we're willing to reach out to that group and bring your ear and your dollars, because we need money.
Yes.
They need money to sustain these programs and things like that. We're trying to be that bridge.
So in other words, you're looking to be a clearinghouse of sorts for various organizations to reach to you, then you splay it out into the communities to organizations that need that kind of resource?
The reality of the situation is there's 1 million nonprofit organizations in North Philadelphia, in Philadelphia alone. And I mean, I may be exaggerating saying 1 million, but there's a lot. And they're doing a lot of the same things, and they're great works. But if we could start to merge together, we could see more things being done.
Yeah, we take this model of when we thought about Make It Happen and planning it. Each organization that attends to a specific deficit in our community. I mean, you can picture that as a rock, right? And a rock being thrown into the ocean of things that need to be addressed. You know what I mean? Make It Happen intends to be, if you can thread together like about 1,000 rocks. If you can thread together 1,000 rocks and throw that again into the ocean, there's a difference in the splash you make.
Interesting, interesting. Because a lot of people are getting involved, including voting. So will you be voting in the spring of this year and the fall?
I think what's important about voting, and like you mentioned this spring, and primaries and different things like that, local politics is what creates change.
Right.
So when you're thinking about the garbage on your streets, right, and you're thinking about just different things that are going on in your area, we have to become more involved with local politics. But one thing that's interesting is a lot of us sometimes don't know what's going on in local politics. That transparency isn't there. So we need to start working on that. Myself, Darian, Make It Happen, and gentlemen like yourself, we need to get involved so that people know, because maybe there's 200, 300,000 people in a select area that could be voting for these different local politicians, but only 30 or 40,000 people are voting. So now we have the same people in positions of power who may or may not be doing anything to create the change that we're talking about. So we have to get the information out there first.
Now, if you've gotten this kind of excitement by the generations, if you will, and they've begun to act to do things in the community, how do you then translate that into a voting block that is specific toward getting their community to change the way they wish to do it? How do you get that mobilized?
I think when we start showing up in numbers at City Hall, at different city council meetings and things like that with an agenda, but see, we have to have an agenda. We have to have a plan, a strategic plan of action. So when you have a voting block of people who are interested in specific issues, right, that can be changed via this form of government or via this community institution, right, then you have power. Then there's power to that, because people, they do want to get elected. I mean, our tax dollars are what fund things that go on in the city of Philadelphia. So when we have people who are knowledgeable, because first we have to give you the knowledge. You have to know. The problem is that who watches the news? People are working 2 and 3 jobs, and do they really know everything that's going on in their community? But if we can find a way to get that information to them via the World Wide Web, whether it be via blogs or whether it be via newsletters, maybe somebody doesn't have the time to be on the internet. We have to first get the information out there. Then we have to discuss what can we do, what is our plan of action, and then we bring it to the powers that be. And if they're not doing it, then we take over those positions. See, we have to be ready to take over those positions.
So you're saying you'll be a clearinghouse, you'll also be an agenda developer, and if all things don't work out, you'll actually conduit to getting things happening, to the point of even running for office.
To that point.
Interesting, interesting. Well, actually, President Obama actually said his favorite president was Abraham Lincoln. So if you all are running for office, this might be a guide. In fact, during his inaugural weekend, he retraced a train ride that Lincoln took to Washington, D.C., and he started right here in the Delaware Valley, as you know, at 30th Street Station. Now, magazines and pundits have compared him to FDR and certainly to Lincoln, and his campaign was patterned after George Bush, considering how he went into the communities, into the different states, and did the things that he needed to do. What do you pattern yourselves after, and why? Start with.
I'll start. I haven't read enough autobiographies about different presidents and historical figures. You have the ones that that definitely stood out throughout American history. But you know, I personally pattern myself after one of the, you know what I mean, the greatest servants of our earth, which is, you know what I mean, Jesus Christ. I'm a very, you know what I mean, solid believer. I have a long way to go to be like Christ-like, but you know, it's a journey, a lifelong journey. But I pattern myself serving people, and then he's the epitome of serving people. So,
I think America, as it's this melting pot, this patchwork quilt, that's what make it happen. That's who I am. That's who Darian is, and you know, inspiration and influence comes from everyone, from someone like John F. Kennedy Jr., right, or you know, somebody like Assata Shakur. You know, you can find information in everybody, and so I'm not looking to be the next JFK, but I gladly accept those influences so that hopefully I can shape and be ready for what the future needs. You know, I don't think that we need to live in the past. So I don't think we're patterning ourselves after anybody, but we are definitely, we love the influence, you know.
Do you consider yourself a role model?
My mother's my role model. My mother's my hero. She's the rock that's held my family together, that's taught me that anything that I want, I can achieve. So if by any chance I've inspired anybody, then I just ask them to thank my mother.
Right.
Definitely, a role model is definitely a huge title, and a lot of people shy away from it. So we're modeling our role right now.
Okay, you're modeling your role, but not necessarily role models.
Not quite. Yeah, I'd love to become one. We'd love to become one. Modeling right now.
So maybe standard bearer might be a good item now. You're leading the charge into getting people involved.
Why not? I like that. I like the way you spun those words.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'm going to read a quote from Martin Luther King. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. What does this mean to you? And what are you doing with Make It Happen in terms of that quote?
That quote says so much. It's like you understand things are going on, yet you say nothing. You know what I mean? Make It Happen is that avenue, that vehicle to give you a voice to a specific issue. You know, there's many issues in the world. My issue may be different from your issue, and my passion is different from Ced's passion, what he feels we need to take care of. But it's totally right. Like, if you be silent, nothing gets done. And we give people a voice. You know, people don't even know they have a voice till you kind of put a microphone to them. You know, so.
Cedric?
I think it kind of speaks to even what Gandhi speaks about when he says, you know, be the change that you wish to see in the world, you know. So if you wish to see change and you see problems and you don't speak on them, then there is no change, you know. And I think that how we plan to move forward with Make It Happen is the different issues that we see, but it's not just about us, it's about the different issues that our communities see, the different issues that you bring to us. And we can find a way that we can be a viable resource, a way to make it happen, a way to change things. And change is such a, you know, ambiguous term. So I don't want to get too caught up in change. But the reality of the situation is, for there to be change, we have to do something.
Right.